Once upon a time, in a peaceful valley carpeted with wildflowers, there lived a curious little bunny named Benny. Benny was no ordinary rabbit. His snowy white fur gleamed like fresh morning frost, and his emerald green eyes sparkled with mischief and wonder. He wore a soft, crimson scarf tied neatly around his neck, its ends fluttering like ribbons of sunlight whenever he bounded through the fields. His favorite sky blue vest, with shiny brass buttons and secret little pockets, hugged his lean frame snugly. He always looked crisp and put together, ready for any adventure that hopped his way. Benny's home was a burrow nestled beside a grand old oak tree, the tallest tree in the meadow. Benny loved this oak tree. He often gazed up at its branches stretching towards the clouds, wondering what marvelous sights one might see from its tallest limb. Sometimes he imagined the tree as a castle and himself as a brave bunny knight looking out over a kingdom of green. One bright and breezy morning, Benny hopped out at his cozy home, feeling extra curious. The air was fresh with the scent of clover, and bees hummed lazily among the golden dandelions. He wiggled his nose and looked up, squinting at the shimmering sunlight peeking through the oak leaves. Today, he decided, would be the day he climbed that grand old oak tree and saw the world from the sky. But bunnies, as you might know, are not natural climbers. Benny twitched his cotton-soft tail and sniffed the tree trunk. How on earth does one go about climbing a tree? He wondered, his one bent ear drooping thoughtfully. Just then, a quick black and white blur darted by. It was Tilly the squirrel. Tilly lived in the old oak's highest branches and was famous among meadow creatures for her nimbleness. "Hello, Benny," chirped Tilly, her bushy tail fluffing with excitement. "What brings you here so early?" "I want to climb the tree, Tilly," Benny replied, glancing upward, "and see the meadow like you do. But I'm not sure how rabbits climb trees." Tilly twinkled with laughter. "Oh, Benny, well, climbing's easy for me, but maybe I can help you." Together, they studied the oak's rough bark, the knots and bumps twisting up the trunk. Tilly scampered up a few feet with ease and then zipped back down. "See these low knots? You can use them as steps. And here," she patted a thick root, "this can be your starting platform." Benny fitted his dainty paws onto the root, his pink pads pressing firmly. He gingerly hopped higher, using the knots and hollows as stepping stones. Tilly hovered nearby, offering encouragement. "That's it! Now one step at a time." Up Benny went, climbing much more carefully than he usually bounded across the meadow. His scarf fluttered with each brave stretch, and his vest's brass buttons glinted in streaks of sunlight. Halfway up, Benny paused. The world already looked different. The clovers below shrank to a green carpet, and the pond glimmered like polished glass. He heard new sounds, the gentle creak of branches and the distant call of a robin. The wind smelled earthy, mixed with the sweet scent of moss and acorns. Just then, a worried little voice piped up from a leafy branch above. "Are you all right, Benny? That's the highest I've ever seen a bunny climb." It was Freddy the field mouse, his round brown eyes wide with surprise. "I'm fine, thank you. Tilly's helping me," Benny called, his ears tilting with excitement. "I want to see what the meadow looks like from the very top." "Good luck," squeaked Freddy. "It's wonderful up here. Oh, watch out for the wiggly branch on the right. It tickles your paws." Benny chuckled, tightening his scarf. He carefully edged around the wiggly branch, which did try to tickle his paws, just as Freddie warned, and climbed a little higher until finally he reached a broad, sturdy limb near the very top of the oak. The branch felt warm from the sun, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves all around him. From his new perch, Benny gazed out in awe. The meadow stretched out far and wide, each flower swaying like a tiny dancer. He saw Lily Pond at the western edge, sparkling with water lilies and dragonflies darting above. The yellow daffodil patch was a soft, golden cloud in the sun, and the winding clover path looked like a ribbon weaving through emerald green grass. Closer to the tree, Benny noticed things he'd never seen before. A family of ladybugs parading up a stem, a pair of butterflies spinning in a joyful dance, and was that a secret fairy ring of mushrooms nestled in the shadow of a birch tree? As he looked around, Benny's heart beat proudly. He could see his own burrow, just a tiny round entrance surrounded by daisies and the cozy nooks where all his friends lived. It was a new kind of magic, seeing the world from above. Tilly joined him with a graceful leap, her bushy tail wrapping protectively around them both. "Isn't it marvelous up here?" "It's wonderful," Benny exclaimed, grinning from ear to bent ear. "I never knew how much there was to see from above. Everything looks so full of life and color." The sun warmed their fur as they swung their legs above the leafy canopy. Tilly shared her favorite sights. "Look over there. That's where the wild strawberries grow. And see that tiny glint by the stream? That's Jasper the Toad's shiny blue pebble." Goom! Benny's eyes widened. How had he never noticed these wonders from the ground? "Thank you, Tilly, for helping me climb," he said softly. "I would never have seen all this without you." A gentle wind rustled Benny's crimson scarf, sending the ends swirling like little red banners. He reached into his vest's secret pocket, pulling out 2 tiny oatcakes he'd saved from breakfast. "A snack for us," Benny offered one to Tilly. They munched happily, enjoying the crunchy sweetness, their eyes twinkling with delight. High above the meadow, Benny and Tilly sat and watched the world unfold. A bluebird fluttered from blossom to blossom. A lazy cloud drifted slowly by, and a patch of clover shimmered with sunlight. Benny closed his eyes for a moment and listened to the gentle sounds, the leaves whispering, the gentle hum of bees, the distant giggles of frolicking ducklings. Later, when a soft bell-like tune floated up from the field, Tilly nudged Benny. "That's Willow the Fawn. She must be practicing her meadow melody again." Benny giggled. "She plays the best music. It sounds even lovelier from up here." But as the sun drifted lower in the sky, casting golden rays across the meadow, Benny realized it was time to return home. His tummy rumbled, and he knew Mama Bunny would soon invite everyone to a picnic by the clover patch. "I suppose I should climb down now," Benny said, feeling a bit nervous when he peered at the ground far below. Tilly smiled reassuringly. "I'll help you, Benny," she promised. Together, they worked their way back down, branch by branch, knot by knot. At each pause, Benny took a deep breath of leafy, sweet air, feeling braver and more confident with every step. Freddie the field mouse waited at the halfway point. squeaking his congratulations. "Well done, Benny! You're one brave bunny." Finally, Benny's paws touched the soft grass again. He landed with a joyful hop, his fluffy tail twitching like a cotton puff. He looked around, seeing his old, familiar meadow in a brand new way. "So what was it like, Benny?" Tilly asked as she scampered beside him. Annie's emerald eyes glowed. It was magnificent. The world looked so different from up there, so full of wonder. Now I want to look for even more surprises, even if they're right under my nose. Tilly laughed her tinkling squirrel laugh. "You're always discovering something special, Benny. Next time, maybe we can explore the hollow log by the pond." Benny straightened his scarf and dusted off his vest, feeling proud and happy. As the friends bounded off together towards the clover patch, Benny looked back up at the grand old oak tree. He winked up at the highest branch, certain there were even more adventures waiting to be found, both above and below. And from that day on, whenever Benny explored the meadow, he looked at everything with fresh, curious eyes. Whether it was a ladybug dancing on a daisy, a mushroom ring twinkling in the shade, or the sparkling top of his favorite old oak. Because sometimes, all it takes to discover new wonders is a little courage, a good friend, and a bunny's bold, bright heart. Together, Benny and his friends learned that the world is always full of surprises, if only you look for them. And so, as the stars began to twinkle in the dusk, Benny the bunny hopped home, his white coat glimmering in the moonlight, his scarf fluttering behind him, and his heart full of adventure and joy. The end.